Welcome to the Doubles Only Tennis Podcast, where you learn the best doubles lessons to improve your game and win more matches while getting to know some of the top doubles players and coaches on the planet. I'm your host, Will Bochek. This podcast, my weekly strategy newsletter, and my website all focus on the goal of better understanding the sport of doubles and helping players like you improve faster through actionable advice that you can use in your very next match. My goal is to provide the best doubles resources in the world. And to do that, I study, analyze, and work with players at every level of the game, all the way up to the ATP and WTA tours. If you enjoy this podcast, consider becoming a Tennis Tribe member to go even deeper and take your doubles IQ to the next level. Members get access to premium podcast episodes, weekly video lessons, monthly strategy webinars, courses, ebooks, gear discounts, and a lot more. Go to thetennistribe.com/memberships to see all the benefits and sign up. Here's today's episode. You're about to hear my conversation with former world number 5 doubles player Christo van Rensburg. Christo was a doubles partner of Paul Annacone back in the day, and they were together the number 1 doubles team on the ATP Tour. And today, Christo runs the ATX Open. He is the tournament director there, and this is the 3rd or 4th year I've had him on to preview the ATX Open, which I attend at least for a couple of days every year. It's a really nice event. It's a nice time of the year down in Austin, and I highly recommend attending if you can. In this conversation, we preview this year's tournament, including his recruiting of the new wildcard, which was just announced a couple of weeks ago. Venus Williams will be playing in the ATX Open. I am not clear if she's going to be playing doubles yet, but she'll definitely be playing singles, hopefully some doubles as well. I asked him how he goes about recruiting players. He has a really impressive player field, especially for a 250 level tournament. We talk briefly about the doubles field, which includes Grand Slam champions Taylor Townsend and Storm Hunter, as well as Grand Slam finalists Ina Shibahara and Shuko Aoyama, and a number of other doubles specialists. From there, we share actually an announcement that Christo has not announced publicly for the first time on the podcast about the ATX Open. So a big announcement that he shares in terms of the venue. He talks about changes for 2026. And then after that, we dive into some double strategy. I always try to end these conversations that aren't as strategy focused with a little bit of things that you can take away for your own game. And Christo is a great tennis coach. Obviously, he was a fantastic player, being top 5 in the world in doubles. And he shares some tips on strengths and weaknesses, and I really liked the way he described how to think about strengths and weaknesses. He articulated it in a way that I had never heard before, and it got me really thinking about how I'm going to coach this going forward. He also talks a little bit about the serve and volley and a few other doubles tips as well. So without further delay, enjoy this always fun conversation with ATX Open Tournament Director Christo van Rensburg. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today we have on again the ATX Open Tournament Director, Christo van Rensburg. Christo, welcome back.
Yes, I got my badge on for you. Can you see ATX Open?
I do have that on.
Well, always fun to talk to you, and thanks for having me on the show again. And like you say, it's around the corner, less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's coming up soon. And I always love chatting with you because you have the obviously tournament director background, but you were also top 5 in the world in doubles, which I'll link for people who want to listen to our very first conversation where we dove into strategy and all of the accomplishments that you had in your career. But today I want to focus a little bit more on the ATX Open, and then we'll also dive into a little bit of strategy and doubles talk as well. So to start, I wanted to start with last week. I asked you to come on the show, and we were texting back and forth, and I said, the player field is looking really good. And you said, oh, just wait. And then 2 days later, this lady named Venus Williams gets a wild card. How did you get Venus Williams to come to Austin, Texas?
They actually reached out to me and they said that she was interested to play the tournament. I think she probably just misses me because my last match at Wimbledon in '97 when I retired was mixed doubles with her when she used to have the white little thing. So obviously I'm very excited to see my old partner from 1997 coming to Austin. And when someone like that actually ends up signing the contract and come and you can actually release it, you really appreciate the impact that makes. Your phone goes off the wall, Brian Sheffield's phone, everyone. So I think to have her walk on the grounds at Westwood is going to be super excited. And the other sad thing is obviously this is our last year at Westwood, so we can delve into that. But having her come to my tournament, it's going to be so much fun. And not taking away from everyone else, but the goal is always to have new faces, new icons to keep everything always fresh for the fans.
So, how did the mixed doubles in '97 go with Venus? I didn't know y'all
So,
had played together.
so the draw came out, and we first round against the defending champions that won the French Open 3 weeks before that.
Oh,
So
shoot.
obviously a tough draw, and they're always going to say it was my fault, and I would admit it probably was my fault, and we lost first round. But it wasn't a bad loss on paper, but it
Right.
still hurt up to now that I could not win a mixed match with Venus Williams. I'm going to have to live my life like that.
That's so funny. It's crazy that now you are a tournament director and she's still playing and going to play in your tournament. Who would have
One of
guessed
us is
that
getting
back in
older. I don't know which one it is.
That's so funny. Let's talk about the rest of the player field. Before we get to specific players, share with people how you recruit players. Are you like talking on the phone with agents during the year? Or are you texting with players and trying to get them to come to the tournament? How does that process work?
I think it works two ways. Sometimes, Brian Sheffield and myself sit down. Brian Sheffield is the promoter, owner of Drop Shot series of we run 5 events during the year, all professional in Austin, Texas. And then we sit down and we kind of look at which players do you think fans would like to see? And then those ones we reach out to the agents and then they come back and we start a process. And then agents will also reach out to us because their players hear about the previous events we've run. So, two sides of the coin,
Hmm.
and that's kind of the process.
And in Venus's case, they reached out to you because she was looking to come to Austin.
Yes, Carlos
Okay.
Fleming, who's our agent, very nice person, reached out and says Venus is interested to come and play your tournament because he's got a wild card in Indian Wells the week after mine and in Miami, and she would like to have some matches. And obviously, you can imagine this was the easiest decision I've ever made since 2019. I just had to run it by Brian Sheffield that we might have some serious ticket sales going up quickly.
So after the announcement, is that what happened? The ticket sales the next day just went through the roof?
So a lot of interesting things happen.
Yeah.
People want to buy tickets. So they come and they said, no, it's sold out on the weekend for finals. But we're always selling out. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. In about
Hmm.
the end of last year, we always sold out. So now they mad. So I kind of want to say, well, you can also buy Tuesday or Wednesday when she would play,
Yeah.
So just go back to where you can get tickets, but you can't just answer everyone. And then when is she going to play? Now,
Yeah.
I know when I want her to play, and we're going to have
Can
to
you share
plan
that with
around it,
us?
but weather permits. And let's say, for instance, I was going to say that I wanted to play on Monday. If she plays a qualifier that will only know 1 o'clock on Saturday, the 21st of February, they don't play the qualifiers on a Monday. Now, what do you tell your fans? So you kind of rumors is we rumor Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday night doubles, but weather can change things. You
Mhm.
know, and the last thing you want is your fans to say, you said he's going to play that time and that time. But that's the hardest question because some people want to watch her first match. And now what do you tell them? Go and buy for 3 days. It's
Yeah.
it's
Uh,
tough. You feel sad for your fans, but it's just how it is. So she's not
yeah.
playing Monday. 100%. I've got a function organized for her for Monday. So that
Okay.
is a definite yes. No, she doesn't
Okay.
play Monday, but come watch her practice.
Okay. So possibly Tuesday, possibly Wednesday.
I would say weather now. One match on Tuesday daytime and one match on Wednesday nighttime to give the fans who are working. But weather permitted,
Yeah.
draw, we'll only know that by Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, no guarantees at all.
No,
It's the unfortunate thing about tennis, right? Other
I
sports,
know.
you can buy the ticket to see LeBron James, and you'll get to see LeBron James unless he's injured. But
Yeah.
it's the reality of the sport. So talk about the rest of the player field. We've got Jessica Pegula coming back, who won the tournament last year. Who else do you have coming this year?
Well, we got two quarterfinals from the Australian Open, Jessica Pegula and Eva Jovic. So that was pretty cool. You know, we talked about investing a little bit more in Jovic when I talked to Brian, and obviously, young girl, not a lot of people know her, but quickly rising to the top to be in the quarterfinals already of the Australian. And then Pegula is just, I mean, a super humble, nice person. Saw her this year at the US Open last year, and she recognized me right away, came over, gave me a hug, and those are all nice things. And then defending champion McCartney Kessler, that defend is a finalist of singles and doubles. He's coming back,
Hmm.
and then we signed Yelena Ostapenka. We need a little bit
Hmm.
of feistiness coming to the tournament, and looking forward to show her to the fans in Austin. And I know her agent really well. It was so easy to deal with him. And, then we're also bringing in the winner of the US Open, Bianca Andreescu from Canada, who's making a
Okay.
comeback and already has won two tournaments this year by just getting back in after injury. So very happy to actually host uh, some Grand Slam winners coming to
Hmm.
Austin. Always makes
Yeah,
a nice story. What do you think, Will? Nice
that's
story.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, these are all super entertaining players. I love watching Ostapinko play is always entertaining on the singles and doubles court. I mostly watch her on the doubles court. And then I remember watching Kessler play some doubles last year when I was there, and I didn't know a whole lot about her. I know she was still kind of on the rise earlier in the year, and obviously she had a lot of success last year and is now, well inside the top 50 in singles. But she hits the ball so hard. So she's really fun to watch. Her and Ostapinko both hit the ball really hard. So yeah, it'll be fun to watch all of these players. And then on the doubles side, it looks like you've got Taylor Townsend, the top American player, as well as Storm Hunter teaming up, both Grand Slam champions as well.
Yeah, we're very excited that Taylor's coming back because she made off the court such a big impact 2 years ago here at she went to the Dell Children's Hospital,
Mm.
and it was an amazing story. She met this little kid in the hospital that was there. And then when she kind of, I think the two of them just bonded. And then about 3 months later, she was in the final of Wimbledon. And we had the kid made her a little video to say, Taylor, I heard you playing in a big tournament tomorrow and good luck. I'm rooting for you. It was so cute. Even I got the video before I sent it, and you get so emotional. And
Yeah.
then Taylor send it back quickly. And she said, I'm crying looking at the video. And she won Wimbledon. So
Yeah.
we're going to connect her again with the kid when she comes in. And she's just an amazing person
Yeah.
with sponsors and everyone. Can't be more happier to have her here.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, a lot of the doubles players. So you've got Ina Shibahara and Shuko Aoyama. Looks like they're the second seeded team, at least as of now. I know this could change. So they made the Australian Open final several years back. It looks like Katie McNally, who's a really fun doubles player to watch. Alexa Garachi, I was surprised to see her after she had retired, I believe, a couple of years ago. So I guess she's coming back as well. So it's going to be a fun tournament, both on the singles and doubles side. As far as the venue and everything, you mentioned this is the last year at Westwood. Um, I want to get into what the process is like for finding a new venue, but before we get to that, what is going to be different this year for fans who have been in years past? Is there anything new kind of on the grounds?
Well, definitely the field. This is going to be our
Yeah.
best field ever. So, what a great way of, finishing up at Westwood. And obviously, that's our goal. We have included a center court suite for 16 people to rent out by the day for day and night, everything inclusive. So, we're very excited. We've sold already half of those days. And then what we're doing is, we've added a big players party at the Driscoll Hotel. That's going to
Hmm.
be high level with a lot of gifts. Players are going to get cowboy hats. They're going to get engraved suitcase leather things. Guests will get perks and everything when they come there. We're selling some tickets now for the players party. So obviously, all these things for the players with up, and then fans now can actually buy into all these extras. And we have brought in a company that will elevate the fan experience, where during the day there'll be activities that you can do. If you've watched a 3 hour match and says, I want to go and hit with some jumbo rackets on the court and just have fun. And then we're going to have a little South African section in the food court that would sell South African food that I'm obviously very excited because I'm from South Africa. Elna Reinach, who was a top 10 doubles player and 26 in the world, she's player services. So she's from South Africa. My wife played Wimbledon with me and she's doing credentials. So we have a little South African community and we want to share that with the people. And when you arrive, I'm going to take you there and I'm going to make sure you show the people on your podcast how you and me, a doubles team, eat South African food.
We'll get some photos of that. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Um, so what about searching for a new venue? Have you started on that? What does that kind of process look like?
It's always a process
Yeah.
because remember, when you are looking, you are disturbing the venue that you renting from because the setup takes about 4 weeks and then also tearing down. So you disrupting this new place for probably 6 weeks.
Hmm.
And, then you have to figure out who's willing to do that. So we are in some talks and looking around, but it's going to be sad. But unfortunately, the fee has just been raised by doubling, and we cannot
Hmm.
afford to be there. So uh,
Sure.
it's sad. We had a great run with Westwood, and we'll move on.
Yeah.
We'll make it nice for the players wherever we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Austin's got a lot of yeah, a lot of infrastructure, so I'm sure you'll be able to find
You can
something
help
good.
me.
Yeah.
All these
I'll
doubles
look
people
around.
on
I've
your
got some ideas.
database. Ask them where we can go and host it, and you never know when icons and people like Pagula can walk on your courts or Venus or local Peyton Stern, who's always one of my big seller in tickets locally. You
Yeah.
know, we are good company. We do good for
Well,
tennis.
We'll talk off the air about some potential venues and try to come up with something.
Okay.
So last couple questions here, and then I know you need to run because you're in Dallas, going to the Dallas Open today. Um, I want to talk about kind of doubles when you played versus doubles now. So I looked up your career high ranking, number five in the world, and it looked like you were 25 years old at the time. So if we took 25-year-old Christo
You're
versus
63. How many years are we counting?
25-year-old Christo versus today's, say, top five, top 10 ATP doubles player with your rackets that you played with, who wins the match?
Okay, rephrase that. You give them our rackets.
I give them your racket that you played with back when you were number five in the world. So they don't get to play with the rackets today. So we're taking a time machine and we're taking 25-year-old Christo to today, and you're bringing your rackets with you, and uh, you hand Christian Harrison one of your rackets, and you'll play against each other in doubles. How do you think you stack up?
I will go behind the scenes and said, how much money would you want to give me a point in this match? No, listen, all the players now, and Roddick is actually in his podcast, you can listen to him, and he's very good in answering these questions. You
Hmm.
can never compare us to the new level of playing because physically they're just stronger. They are great athletes, and they have different weapons that we never had. And all you
Hmm.
could do is kind of say, okay, what was your level in your era? So if you say I was five in the world and Anacon and I were as a team number one in the world, then I sometimes would watch the players now and I'll say, okay, let me look at a guy ranked number five in the world. Or let me look at the team that's number one in the world now and says, I guess if I was born much later and I'm in this era now, maybe I would have fitted there. And you kind of watch what they do. And then it's kind of you're not just watching, you like analyzing and you're like
Yeah.
thinking, if I was now on the court and playing them, what would I have done? Instead of sometimes just go and enjoy the match. But listen, that's they are so good now, man. And the power.
Yeah.
And the other day I was at the net and I was volleying a little bit, and this was just someone hitting the ball quite hard, and you look at this ball and it just feel like it's coming a million miles an hour at you. But I looking back now, it's kind of interesting. I think if you give a new player now an old racket and they play for an hour, one day their arms aren't going to be a little bit sore because it's a completely different feel,
Hmm.
to it. But
Yeah.
anyway, it would be kind of interesting to see the new people play, like the 1 point slam or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Have something like that with old rackets, but you can't let them play more than 5 or 10 minutes. So they're going to get
Mm.
maybe some, but
Some,
that'll be
yeah.
interesting. A 1 point slam with an old racket might be
Yeah.
fun to watch.
Yeah, that would be fun to watch. Yeah, it is tough to compare. I mean, one thing that I feel like people say, and this is partly due to the technology change, is this serve and volley, especially on the singles side, has kind of gone away, right? Um, and then even on the doubles side, like a lot of the men, Neil Skupski and Christian Harrison, who just won the Australian Open, serve and stay back a lot, more than they serve and volley. But when you were number five in the world, everybody was serving and volleying, right? Um, how do you view that? Why do you feel like the serve and volley has kind of gone away a lot? And then also, how do you teach that? A lot of people ask me, like, I want to get better at getting to the net. How do you go about teaching that to someone?
I think the biggest or the easiest for me to answer this question is two things. Is it important for you to enjoy doubles, or are you going on the court and you want to win? I ask this whenever I'm at a club and I talk, whether I talk to a 3-0 lady or a 5-point. Obviously, if you go to the pro level, you play to win because your life depends on it, because that's how you're going to make money.
Mm-hmm.
If you just want to have fun and play, you do whatever you want because you get exercise, you love the game. It's great to get out there. You have a moving ball, you have to run, your heart rate, you're going to get nervous. There's a lot of things happening to you that's good for your health. If you play to win, you have to figure out what your weapons are. I'm going to give you a simple explanation now. If you need to play, let's just go Nadal, and you have to play one shot at him, would you like him to be at the baseline or you would like him to be at the net? And I would help you out here. Probably if he's at the back, you're going to be a lot more tougher to win the point because he's got time. So putting him at the net, you should have a little bit more confident. He's still very good, but going over now to the explanation is, are you better at the baseline or better at the net? And then find yourself in that position in doubles more often, and definitely when the point is available that you definitely need to win. You rank these as one of the top 10 points in the match. Make sure you're in a position where you have the most confidence, you feel the most comfortable. You cannot guarantee win or lose it, but you at least hit much better shot from that position. Now, you always want to add value to improve your game. And I live by this rule is, if you have something very good now and you work on that, it will become excellent. If you have something that is just good, you're kind of trying to hide this because everyone, even the top of the world, don't have every shot great. If you want to work on your weaknesses, just remember that will become good. It will never become excellent. So work on your good stuff to make it excellent, and the other stuff, make it presentable. The same now with doubles. And then I learned this thing from Lendl when we trained together for a long time. Create little games in competition, in practices, where you add, for instance, if I want to, for instance, work on my net game, get a short ball, come in, first to 10, play the point out. Just put yourself there for 10, 15 minutes of the practices, but bring it into a little game. And that's how you add value or make make you better.
Mm-hmm. I love that advice. Yeah, I've been having uh people, a lot of my audience do like these challenges. So people tell me they want to improve in the transition zone, right? They want to get better at
Yeah.
getting from the baseline to the net. And I'll do that. I'll tell them, play against your doubles partner to 10, feed from the baseline, and you have to move forward after you feed. And you just play a few games. And yeah, all it takes is, like you said, 10, 15 minutes every practice of working on that specific game, that specific thing. And then the idea of making your weaknesses good and then making your strengths excellent. I love that too, because it can, a lot of the issue with weaknesses I find is people, if they're weak and they show that to the opponent early, the opponent can pick up on it quickly, right? But if you can make it, like you said, respectable, the opponent's going to have a little more difficulty finding that weakness, and they may not be able to pick on it as easily. So I
Correct.
really,
Correct. That's where the strategy comes in. Where,
yeah,
that's why coaches come in and they analyze players and said, if I hit the ball there, I potentially get 75% more of this
mm,
shot that I want.
yeah,
And listen, the saddest thing for me is when I go sometimes and walk in a club and I see they doing the clinics with everyone and they all do the same clinics. You're going to go to the net, you're going to do this or you do that. But you have 8 players there. If it was for the players whose it's their strength, That's great. They're going to become excellent. The other people are just going to get good, but they do this a whole hour or they do this 45 minutes and they don't change it because they believe this is how we should play doubles. So you actually could hurt one or two or three people in that group because that's not really how they're going to get better. So I always said, listen, that's why I only coach maximum of 2 people if I ever do. Don't do it anymore, but I have a lot of respect for these people who coach 8 or 10 people in an hour. Just hard.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, it is hard.
I have another tip that I would add is if you have a strength, let's just say you have a strength in the forehand and the backhand not. Don't try and hit the backhand like your forehand. Don't try and hit the same shot. Make your weaker shot maybe a little bit bigger targets where you can make more of that and then take your shot off your weapon side. Well, I see a lot of people play and they want to hit this great shot. And I'm looking at them and said, that's your weaker side. You're going to miss more if you be that aggressive and think you want to hit it the same as let's say your forehand was your strength. Same with volleys. The shot you're comfortable with, you can pull the trigger more often. The other shot, make it a little bit more. They'll never be the same. So figure that out.
That's really, really good advice for people to think about. All right, so let's hop off here. Last thing, what else do you want to share about the tournament and where can people find tickets?
They can go ATXopen.com. That is where the WTA 250 is. And then, that starts on the 21st of February. And the main draw starts on Monday, the 23rd. Sunday final around noon. We've moved the final up an hour because we would like to help the players get to Miami, get to Indian Wells. Sorry, a late afternoon flight. And then we should touch quickly that we actually added a new tournament on the 9th of March, 8 days after the ATX Open. We have the Austin 125, brand new one, second week of Indian Wells. And Will, you and I looked at it. The worst player in that draw, what did we see? 89 in the world already?
I think 83. I think it was
the last person in the ATX Open, that's twice the size, is 99.
I think. Yeah.
So we are going to get
now the draw is better.
We're hosting that at the Courtyard. And I know Venus said I should keep her a wild card for that tournament. What an amazing thing to see her, Peyton Stern, all these players coming back 8 days later. We don't want to see them in a nice way because that means they're winning in Indian Wells. Right. But players who are losing in Indian Wells in the first 2 rounds would be able to come to Austin and play. So we're very busy here. We are growing and we call ourselves now Tennis in Austin. We have 5 events. So
that's
the
awesome.
webpage is atxopen.com, austin125.com, and dropshotseries.com for the ITFs.
Awesome. We'll link to all that in the show notes, and I'll link to where people can get tickets and try to watch Venus Williams on either Tuesday or Wednesday.
And the Players Party. They can buy the Players Party Sunday night at the Driscoll. 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock. The players will all be there. It's going to be exciting.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, Christo. I will certainly see you down in Austin, maybe even later today in Dallas.
I look forward. We'll have a water for the
awesome.
We'll just tell the audience we're going to have a water.
Yeah, we'll share a water before we depart. Thanks, Christo.
Bye. Thanks for talking, and you're always welcome at my tournaments.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Doubles Only Tennis Podcast. If you're interested in diving deeper into the world of doubles strategy, I've created Tennis Tribe memberships that allow me to bring you more podcast episodes, video lessons, webinars, and other doubles content on a weekly basis without relying on paid ads. The lessons inside the membership will help you better game plan with your partner, optimize your practices, and become the smartest player on the court. Go to thetennistribe.com/memberships to learn more and sign up. You can also join my free newsletter on our homepage, where I share a new doubles lesson every week. If you want to connect, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or contact me through our website. Thanks again for listening.